Hi, welcome back to Paul's Stuff, my place on YouTube where I can talk about all the things I love. Lots and lots of Star Wars, lots of lightsabers, another lightsaber review today. So today I want to look at another lightsaber from Padawan Outpost. This is their Opress, which is a Savage Opress staff hilt from the Clone Wars. Being a staff hilt, lights at both ends. It is a little different from my previous staff hilts. The two mauls that are behind me. They split apart and can be used as single lightsabers. This is dedicated staff lightsaber. It's a dedicated double-ended lightsaber. Obviously you can put a blade in one end and use it as a single-handed lightsaber. It's quite a big hilt to do that with though. It's designed to be two-handed hilt. And because of that, it's slightly different from the others. They have two cores in the staff. This has one core in it. So it's a single core with a NeoPixel connector at either end. Because it is a single core, there is a difference in the blade socket length, and I'll show you that in a moment when we look at the blade plugs, because that will illustrate it a lot better than I can tell you about it. But there is a difference in how far the blade goes in on either side, and consequently how long the blade is on either side of the saber. Doesn't really notice, but I've heard people say before it's about an inch. It's not. It's actually longer than that. It's quite a significant difference side to side. It's about 2.5 inches difference. So single core, which is very, very easy to access. Saber screws in half, and here's our core. Got my battery in there with my usual custom Saber Armory battery wrap. All of the extras that I've put on here, there are links in the description to where you can get those. So this is from Saber Armory, the battery wrap. The batteries I've swapped out for KeepPower, 3000 milliamp hour, 15 amp batteries. It has a very easy to access SD card. There's only obviously the one SD card because it's a single core. This one's got a Xenopixel board in it. This is the latest version of the Xenopixel board with the little metal cage at the end. So very easy to get the SD card in and out. You slide the little cage back, put it up, and the SD card comes out. I usually upgrade my sabers with SanDisk Ultra SD cards. Nearly lost that one. I just prefer to have a better quality card in the saber. So yeah, that's pretty much the internals. Because you've got an emitter connector at each end, you can see there's one here. There's no space at the end for the speaker, which is where it normally goes. So it has side-mounted speaker, which is a little bit unusual. And you can see this end of the pommel, this end of the hilt has vents for the sound. So that's the internals of this thing. screw it back together without crossing the threads. Now I have on here 3 sound fonts. There aren't that many Savage Opress sound fonts out there, so I've got the 3 I could find. The 3 of my favourite makers. The first one is from Kybers. It's their Savage sound font. My custom turn on sound. If you want to know how to work with the SD card on these, I have videos up on my channel about how to access the SD card, how to work with the SD card, how to add and remove sound fonts, and I've got a video on charging as well, because that's not always clear with these LGT Nexus sabers. And yeah, you can change the power on, power off sounds. So I routinely change those and the charging sounds. That's my custom power on sound. So this is Savage from Kybers. Nice sound font, blaster blocks. Because this is a single core, it's much easier to have the gesture controls activated. So you have twist on, twist off with this. I'll pop some blades in it in a moment and you'll see that working with the blades as well. Next sound font on here. Is Savage Opress from House Kybers. Another nice sound font. These all have quotes as well. And the last one is Savage Knight, or Savage Knight from Kyberphonic. This has the exposed lip button, which isn't very accurate, but is quite nice in terms of controlling these, because it blinks to give you cues to where you are in the menu. I quite like having the button exposed, even though it's not very accurate. So this is Savage Knight from Kyberphonic. A little bit disappointed with this one. Normally Kyberphonic come with quotes and with soundtracks, and this one didn't. So I've added some from other fonts. Nice sound font again. So let's have a look at it with some blades in. Now, while I'm doing this, I'll talk to you about the difference in the blade socket depth, because this is where you'll be able to see it most obviously. So obviously being double-ended, there are two blade plugs in here. I ended up making some custom blade plugs. I don't know if you can see, but there are little shine through lights on here, and they work best if you've got a Xenopixel blade plug in here. So although I normally don't use Xenopixel blade plugs, because all of these emitter connectors are lit now on the LGT Nexus NeoPixels, this one I did because of the shine through. They're not actual LEDs, they just pass the light through from the blade or the blade plug. So I ended up making custom NeoPixel blade plugs for this because of the depth of the sockets, and you'll see that in a moment. So this is the one from the button end. A normal blade plug is that sort of depth, so you can see I've had to add a bit on the bottom of this just a piece of blade material, and then I've used a NeoPixel connector on the end, put some LEDs inside, so this one lights up with the connection to the saber. So this one, not too bad, a little bit longer than a standard blade plug. Let's have a look at the other end. This is the end, the opposite end of the core. So the core doesn't sit in the middle of the saber, it sits just off to one end. And so this blade plug has to be longer. Again, this is a custom NeoPixel blade plug that I've made up for this saber, but there's the difference in blade plug length. That's the difference in the depth of the sockets between these two. So you will find that the blade on one side looks slightly shorter than the blade on the other side if you're using the same size blades. No getting around that, doesn't really notice, but it is there. And of course, if you want to use blade plugs in here, you either have to have them at different depths in the saber, or you have to do what I did and make some custom blade plugs for it. So again, this is NeoPixel blade plug, just standard blade plug at the top, piece of blade material, LED connector and LEDs to make up a blade plug. The blade plugs I've used on these are again from Saber Armory. They are their DV6 blade plugs. Just have that nice little hexagon detail in the center. I thought these would look nice in this saber. So let's get on and put some blades in. Not going to be able to show you this in its entirety, I'm sure, because it will go way past the edges of the video screen. Very difficult to keep these staff sabers in frame on video, so I'm not even going to try. So here we go. So again, this is the Kyberphonic Savage Knight. Get this blaster effect. But because it's a single core that's operating this, you get the same effects on either end. Tip drag. So that's happening at both ends. Lock up. Again, that happens at both ends. You may be able to see here, this is the shorter end. There's more space between the emitter and the light effect. That's because this blade is further into the hilt. And we've got quotes on here as well. So this sound font didn't come with quotes, so I've had to put them on. So this is the K-Sith sound font. Once again, you get your blade effects, blaster block, tip drag at either end again. Lock up. Another nice sound font. And then just to round them out, this is the Kyberphonic. sorry, the House Kybers Savage Opress. Again, blast the block. Lock up. Tip drag. Quotes. Obviously I've got the same quotes on all three of these. I tend to mix and match the quotes a little bit. You do get sound files, music files as well. You can play on the Xenopixel. So just a little snippet there. Don't want to get a copyright strike. So yeah, this is the Savage Opress. Once again, I bought this one from Padawan Outpost here in the UK. Great family run business. Is available elsewhere. I know Kyberphonic sell this as well. If you use the code Paul Stuff at checkout at Kyberphonics, you get a discount off of certain purchases. So that's worth looking at if you're shopping there at Kyberphonics. That's the code at checkout is Paul Stuff. Doesn't work on all purchases, but you'll get a discount on some items. Lovely saber. A little bit different from my other staffs because it is the single core. Nice to have the gesture controls on here. I can turn it on and off with a twist. I tend not to have stab on, stab off on, or swing on. I just have the twist. But on my other saber, my other staff sabers, that's disabled because you have to twist it both ways, and it just doesn't work. It's not easy at all to get right, and it's easier just to press the buttons. So I disable it on staffs generally, but this one being a single core, double-ended single core, you can have the gesture controls on. So that's the Opress from Padawan Outpost, LGT Nexus lightsaber. Fantastic saber. Has 1-inch blades. I chose to go, these are 32-inch blades in this one now. You could go to 36-inch blades. I wouldn't recommend it. This is very long as is. Even with the 32-inch blades, it's taller than me. So yeah, I would stick with 32s or even 28s in this, would probably work quite nicely. Really nice saber, another lovely addition to the collection. Really pleased to have got this one. Love all the little details on it. From what I can tell, it's reasonably accurate. Yeah, another nice purchase. So, hope you've enjoyed this review. If you like the content, then please give it a like. If you haven't already, then please consider subscribing as well. It's always lovely to see more people subscribing to the channel, taking an interest in what I'm doing. I'm not interested in building the channel for any other reason than to pass on the information that I have and to show you the things that I've been getting hold of. So the more people that are interested in that, the more I like it. And thank you if you already have subscribed. But for now, that's it. So I'll just say cheerio.